This is a Z89 exclusive interview.
Welcome back to A Brief Intermission, the show where you can take a brief intermission from your day and get front row delivery of all the backstage theater news right here in Central New York. I am so excited to be joined by Dylan Weaver, who plays Elder Price in the national tour of Book of Mormon. Dylan, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
I want to just talk right away about what it's like for you to be back in Syracuse for the national tour. You went to Syracuse University. What was your reaction when you found out that you were going to be coming back to Syracuse?
I put it right onto my calendar. I was so excited. I mean, I love Q's so much. I mean, it's for 4 years, it was my home away from home. And, it is such a cool place. And I'm so excited to just be back and, be in the city and, go to all my favorite restaurants and stuff and show my cast to, all my favorite places. I'm really hoping to get back on the campus for a little bit, cosplay as a college student again for a few days. And then, yeah, if I have some time, go up to Green Lakes or something, just, enjoy being up in beautiful upstate New York again. I don't know how the weather is up there, but I'm sure it's going to be okay. Hopefully, we'll see.
I hope so. I'm gonna put out some good energy so you can go and have fun at Green Lakes. Green Lakes is the best. I
Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
love that place.
Oh my God.
What are some of the other spots besides like Green Lakes and like on campus? But you mentioned some restaurants you want to introduce the cast to. I have to ask, which is like
Oh,
your number one spot that you have to go to?
well, I mean, it might be cliche, but Possibilities is the place to be. I mean, I think about that spicy tomato oil like every single day. That's an upstate New York classic, so of course I'm thinking about that. I actually worked at Salt City Coffee, so I'm actually really excited to go back and get a coffee there. And also, I'm staying right by Water Street Bagels, so every morning a good old Water Street. I mean, yeah, no, I mean dinosaur barbecue, lemongrass. Like, I mean that I always tell people like Syracuse is a food city. People don't realize it, but it is
Yeah.
like it is a staple up there. And yeah, so I mean, definitely go to all those places, and then. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it might be a busy weekend for sure, but I'm gonna try to get out as much as I can. So
I absolutely love it. And I have to ask, I'm from New Jersey, so I know a good bagel, and Water Street definitely has those. What is your go-to bagel order?
ooh, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's oh gosh, I always get like a cheesy bagel, of course. And then I think it was like the one with like green peppers and like oh gosh, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like green peppers and like ham. It was like the one of the
Okay.
breakfast dishes. I can't remember which one it was, but I love something spicy, a nice little aioli on there or whatever you got there. But yeah, I love a good like sausage, egg, and cheese, something like that. But I can't remember the exact one. But I remember it had like chilies on it in some form. So
Well, you're gonna have to just go and get it and then report back to us after once we figure out the actual name of
I,
it.
I totally will. I totally will.
So, kind of then going into the show a little bit more, tell me about how you got involved with this specific production of Book of Mormon and being on the national touring cast.
Sure, yeah. So it's a pretty fun story. And it involves another actually Syracuse alum. So I had just done a small regional show in Florida and I'd come back to the city. I was kind of in between work and like I was working at a gym and I was like kind of down about my career at the moment. I was only about a year out of college, but I was like nothing's clicking yet. I'm enjoying being in the city, but I was like, I want to do something, and my friend was doing a show called Spring Awakening, unpaid, but it was just a bunch of our friends from Q's and then some friends from Boston University. There's like a weird little mixing of a friend group there, and they were doing the show, and they asked me to be in it, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I love the show. I really
Great
love the
show.
people working on it. Yeah, great show, incredible show. One of my favorites. I've done it 3 times now. I would do it every day. And my one of my friends, Josh Keane, he graduated in 2020. He was the choreographer, and he had been on the Broadway national tour, and he had joined the Broadway company after a year of being on the tour. And while we were in the process, he kind of encouraged me to go and audition. He was like, "Hey, we're doing auditions pretty soon. Do you want to? Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm interested. Like I'll submit." And I had just got signed with a new agent, and he sent out the audition like literally a day or two after that. So I was like, "Okay, there's something going on here in the
Yeah.
world. Like, it's telling me to audition. So I went into the room and I did it, and it was pretty seamless. I mean, it's like it's kind of weird as an actor. Sometimes you have those moments where you're like you can just tell it clicks. And this was one of those auditions. I just felt so confident about it. I felt so good in the room. I felt like I was exactly what they needed in that moment. And then about a month later, they called me and they said I got the job. And I was actually I they called me at the right time because I had also just gotten a cruise job. So I was actually a couple weeks out from leaving for a cruise.
Wow.
Um, it was kind of this like perfect mix of everything. And then yeah, 2 years later, I'm almost 500 shows in, and it's such a blessing. It's such a cool show to be a part of. And yeah, my story, it was just kind of the perfect example of just like listen to your friends, and when they tell you they've got something that you should audition for, you go and audition for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this show is such a classic. It's been around since 2011, 9 Tonys. But why, or for people who may not know, even though it
Mhm.
is so big and mainstream, like Broadway culture, for people who may not know what the show is about, in your own words, can you kind of describe the plot of the show and then like the character that you play?
Sure, I can't give away too much.
Of course, of course.
I want to make sure you guys can come and see it and enjoy it still. Basically, what I'll say is it's by the South Park creators, which is honestly, when I tell people about the show, that's all I need to tell them. I'm like, it's by the South Park creators. It's a hoot. It's a little raunchy sometimes, but it is great. It's about two Mormons who basically they are an unlikely pairing, and they go on the adventure of a lifetime. And so my character Elder Price is kind of what I think you could call the golden boy, or at least he sees himself like that. He is this incredibly charismatic, thinks he's ready to go out and change the world, basically, is the best way I can put it. So yeah, and he's paired with his partner Elder Cunningham, who is a little bit more of a wacky, zanier, sidekick character at first, but he has an insane growth throughout the show. And yeah, basically, it's just it's a show about community and faith and a lot of other things, and hilarity ensues. And yeah, I can't give away too much. I'm strictly supposed to not say more than that. So
No, I love it. And playing almost 500 shows is a lot. How do you keep the character new and fresh and find new things about the show each time you perform it so it doesn't
yeah.
kind of you get in that same rhythm of doing the same thing over and over again?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm actually I haven't been playing Elder Price my full time with the tour. I'm only playing it for a small period this season. But I have played Price, I think, about 120 times now, which is crazy as an understudy. I've gone on a lot. But I think it's for me it was always fresh for me when I would go on for Price, because I was in the ensemble every night, and I understudy Elder Price and one of their characters. So I would get to go on, and it just feels so fresh. And sometimes it's a little scary, but now in this period, I've been doing it for about a month now, and I have about another month left. It's tough sometimes. It's definitely tough, and I think what keeps it fresh for me every day is just the audience. I think that there's like that's the beauty of live theater, is like it keeps you, even if you want to, phone it in one night, there's going to be something that happens in the audience. You're going to hear a reaction or something, and it like tunes you back in for whatever reason. The other night we were in Grand Junction, Colorado, and Colorado loves the show because South Park,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were in a smaller theater, and we're kind of unsure, if it was going to be great or not, or what it was going to be. And there was this like one like rowdy audience member that was just like hooting and hollering. And there's like there's a song that I sang, and at the beginning of the song, he just like yells, "Let's go!" Like something like I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, 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 let's go."
Totally. Totally. Let's go with
And
it.
yeah, exactly. It was crazy and kind of but exciting at the same time. And so I feel like it's all about just like trying to start fresh every night, even though you have it in your head. Go in with a clean slate and just be ready to go through the hills and valleys of the show, and just try to be new and fresh every night. And yeah, the audience helps with that, I think, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, especially going to different cities. It's not just like the audience is different. You're going to different parts of the country, so then the way they're going to react to certain jokes is probably going to be different based on that state's vibe and that state's culture. So, What
100.
has been the coolest part for you about being able to do it on like a national stage and like being able to just go all across the country performing these characters?
I mean, exactly what you said. It is so cool to see how different places react to it. I mean, the best audience we've ever had is Salt Lake City. I mean, whenever we're in Mormon country, they love this show. More current Mormons, former Mormons, neighbors of Mormons, family members of it is like the best compliment you can get is when an ex-Mormon comes up to you and they're like, you were spot on with the that is thank you. That is the best. I love it. There's like the whole Mormon belt of, basically, Idaho, Utah, and then Arizona, and some Colorado in there, and some, New Mexico and whatnot. But like whenever we were in Arizona or Salt Lake City, they would just go crazy. And yeah, I think it's just super special to see how like how it is just so relevant still 15 years on, and so many people across the country, this is like their first theater experience also, is what I've come to realize. And that's so special that we get to be this like intro into musical theater for a lot of people, and it's a great show to introduce people into it. And so you see this with some of like the smaller cities, at first they're a little like unsure of what they're getting into, but then you hear the audience start to warm up, and it is the coolest feeling when at the end of the show you're like, okay, this audience maybe wasn't on board at first, and there were some moments they weren't super into, and then all of a sudden at the end they're totally on your team and they're totally rooting for you. That's a really cool feeling. That's really cool. Yeah.
And for Syracuse audiences, why do you think, I know you said like it's still obviously so relevant to everyone and everyone is able to find some sort of themselves in the show and like find that funny and that humor into it. Why do you think people in Syracuse, it's only here for a weekend for 3 days, so why do you think they should come out and see it?
Oh man, I mean, I think that, well, I think we could, one, I'll use a laugh right now, just in the grand scheme of things in the world. I think that this is one of those shows that is so funny and will like help you forget, the craziness of your life. And also I think that it also will like you'll learn something along the way, as cliche as that is. Like it has a great message at the end. I think it's so cleverly written. And that's the best part. And yeah, upstate New York, I mean, I think they get the humor. I think there's like certain pockets of the country like that just get it. And I just know for a fact that upstate New York is one of those places that it's gonna hit in a great way. There's references to upstate New York. There's lots of little moments in there that you'll laugh at. And I mean, yeah, Mormonism started up in upstate New York, up by Rochester. So I think that alone is always fun. Whenever that's one of my favorite parts is whenever we're in a place that is referenced in the show,
Oh yeah.
and hearing the audience like cheer for their place. It's so fun. It's so fun. Yeah. So I think Syracuse should totally just come out, mostly to support a former Q student, but also because it's just good, and the comedy is so perfect for just the area also, I think.
And talking a little bit about your Q's experience, I kind of want to go back to that a little bit and would love to know how being a part of the Syracuse community and specifically the drama department at Syracuse has helped you in your professional career, not only just for the show, but all of the things you've done, what you've been able to take from your education here in Syracuse to apply it in your professional career.
Totally. I mean, Syracuse was always one of the schools that I knew I wanted to go to for many reasons. I mean, I'm a big sports guy, so right away I knew I wanted to go to a sports school, and like Q's, great sports. And but yeah, the program is exactly what I needed, because they really kind of hammered in a great sense of work ethic. I think work ethic, and just, being able to show up and in the room know exactly what you can control when you're auditioning. And then more so than that, when you're in the rehearsal room, how to be, the best worker and the best person you can be. And I think there's a lot of, hands-on experience I got with doing the shows, part of the drama department. And the coolest part of the drama department is that we're partnered with Syracuse Stage. So, a lot of the college students are in the Syracuse Stage, Equity House, doing real shows, professional shows, getting a real, actual hands-on professional experience. And I was lucky enough to do Little Mermaid my senior year, and it was the one of the greatest experiences of my life. And like it was my first like professional show really, and I had a blast. And we did 60 shows, and that taught me how to handle an 8 show week, how to balance a life on top of a show, and how to work through there's illness in the cast, and how to deal with all these things. I mean, it was just hands-on experience that was so useful. And yeah, the professors are incredible. I mean, they are some of the most brilliant, hardworking and intelligent people ever. Most of them, all of them, have worked in the industry in some fashion, and that is worth its weight in gold. And I mean, yeah, their experience more than anything was passed on to us. And I think, yeah, more than anything, I think it was just work ethic, and just, showing up and doing the work is just that's just it. And just being a good person is what was really imbued to us. And it was really up to us at the end of the day to, take those lessons though. And so yeah, no, I love the place so much. And it was so cool. I got to do so many incredible experiences through Syracuse. I got to study abroad in London. I did a summer program in LA where I did film classes and interned with the casting director. And then our final semester senior year, we went to New York City and we took classes with, Daisy Prince, Hal Prince's daughter. And, we got to get hands-on experience from professionals in New York in the industry as kind of like a guiding, push into the industry. And all of that combined, it's still helping me, and there's still lessons I'm now trying to pass on, because it's really important for everyone, not just in theater. There's just life lessons to be learned that I was so fortunate to have gotten through Syracuse. Yeah.
And to be able to have those like the hardships and experience the struggles like while you're in college of like the professional world, then must have made the transition into post grad life and now trying to secure these jobs just not necessarily totally easier, but still just a little bit more of a smooth. You knew what to expect, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was so daunting showing up for the first day of rehearsal at Book of Mormon, because I was like, oh my gosh, am I good enough? Like, have I done the work to get here? Am I really worthy of this? And then I showed up and I was doing rehearsal, and I was like, oh, I've done this. This is what I've done. Like, this is every rehearsal process I've had. A little faster, granted, I learned the show in basically 5 days, and it was just quick, throw you up on your feet, learn the choreo, learn the, mornings, learn the music, afternoon, we're going to choreograph all the stuff. We're going to do all this. And I mean, but it was so easy in many ways, because I knew exactly when I showed up, this is what it's going to be like. And yeah, and I mean, but all of the prep along the way, I mean, Lord, like just, how to walk into an audition room, that was all on them. And yeah, it's like, it's typical, like with everything in life, but specifically theater, you do all the prep work before, you imbue it in your body, and then you let it go, and you just show up and you be yourself, and you let it come through you. So.
Would you say learning the show in such a short period of time was the most challenging part of being a part of this cast and this show in general? Or what would you say has been kind of a bigger challenge for you in this role?
Oh man. I mean, yeah, it was the quick turnaround was difficult, but in many ways it was manageable, because I knew at first I just had to focus on this. I'd say the hardest part was after, I mean, that was just focusing on my ensemble track. So then once after the 2 weeks of rehearsal, basically we're up there like, okay, now you got to learn the lead of the show. And I didn't even touch on my other understudy role for months later. But yeah, I mean, for me, the toughest part was, basically learning the main character of the show without like full rehearsals. We had, kind of sparse, like it was understudies doing it together. And after a couple months, we started shows in September, and in October, I made my debut as the lead for without basically I'd had some rehearsals, of course, but I didn't have a put in. A put in is where you have all the lights and all the sound and all the elements of the show and costume, just to prepare you for the real thing. I didn't have that. We weren't able to do it, but I debuted in Philly and it went pretty well, and I think. I was sitting in my room every night just drilling the lines, drilling the choreo, drilling my blocking, and watching videos, doing it with the videos. And I mean, that was definitely the hardest part was like, okay, stepping into this really big challenge, which I love. I mean, being the lead of a show, that's what I thrive in. I love doing it. I love being in the ensemble, but like this type of work is exactly what I want to do. And so I would say that was super hard. I mean, there's so many parts of touring life that can be difficult, but I mean, yeah, once getting the show up on its feet and with all my roles for the first few months was definitely the hardest part of the process. Yeah.
I can only imagine. That sounds very stressful, but also very incredibly rewarding once you're
Yeah.
able to step into that role. And I have to ask this. I obviously can't give too much away, but is there a favorite part in the show or a favorite song or number that you just love to perform that every single time you're just like, I don't even have to think about it. I just know it comes to me naturally, and I just love this.
Yes, there are so many parts that I love. There is like I would call it the big 11 o'clock number in the second act. I'm not even gonna I don't even think I can tell you the name of it, but there's a big solo number that Price sings in the second act that is like the song that I always associated and loved so much with the show. And I feel so connected to the piece, and it is such a fun sing. But I really will say at the beginning of the show, the first two numbers are like some of the coolest and greatest like opening pieces of a musical ever. It drops you in so quickly and so perfectly. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, yeah, just that opening, it's the typical ding dong, hello, my name is
It's classic.
I it is classic, the classic, it drops you right into the world. I think doing that is also really good. And but yeah, that the second act big number, I don't even think I can tell you what it is, but that is definitely my favorite part. But I mean, it's every piece of this show is just so good. I saw the show when I was 13, and it was like that was one of those moments where I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to be in this show and be this character. And so this is such a full circle moment in my career so far. And I'm so blessed to have started off with this as being my like first big gig. It's yeah, it's so special. I love it. I love it all.
That's incredible. So I guess that just means everyone's just gonna have to go out to see what number you're talking about when Book of Mormon is at the Landmark from March 20th through March 23rd, right? Or
20, I think
22nd,
March
22nd?
22nd. We leave the
22nd.
20th, 22nd. Yeah, Friday through Sunday.
Perfect.
Five shows. Come see all five.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for joining us here at A Brief Intermission at Z89 Radio. And break a leg. This is going to be great. I can't wait to see the show on
Oh my God, I can't
whatever
wait.
day I end up making it, but I will be there.
I can't wait. Come say hi after. Yeah, no, I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm so excited to be back in Q's. I'm so excited to be surrounded by my favorite, upstate New Yorkers. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, Isabella.